Listen to me, you owe you, not your boss, not your parents, not your friends. You owe it to you to be great. Every day you wake up, you're presented with a choice. Stay the same or evolve. Stay comfortable or grow. You weren't born to be average. You were born with a gift, but it's your job to develop that gift. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. Stop blaming your past, your pain, or your circumstances. There's greatness inside of you, but you gotta go get it. You've gotta hustle, you gotta grind. You've gotta look in the mirror and say, I will not stop until I become everything I was created to be. You keep trying to impress other people, but what about impressing you? What about making yourself proud? At the end of the day, it's not about talent. It's about effort. It's about being willing to do what others want so you can live how others can. You owe it to you to show up, to grow up, and to glow up. This is your time. Take it. Own it. Become who you were born to be because you owe you. You got to stop playing the blame game. I know life hasn't been easy. I know people hurt you. They left you. They lied to you. I know opportunities were taken from you. And some days you look in the mirror and wonder how you even made it this far. But let me be real with you. None of that matters anymore. Because the longer you hold on to what happened, the longer you give away your power, the longer you talk about what they did to you, the more you delay what you're supposed to be doing for you. Now I get it. They weren't there. Maybe your parents didn't raise you the way they should. Maybe the people around you never believed in you. Maybe you had to raise yourself. But guess what? That pain, that story, that struggle, that's your fuel. You either use it or you let it use you. And I'm telling you right now, you got to take ownership of your life. You got to wake up and say, no more excuses. No more waiting. No more hiding. This is on me now. You want success? You want to be great? You want to live a life that actually means something? Then stop giving other people control over your destiny. Your past does not get to write your future unless you let it. Your pain doesn't get to be the author of your purpose unless you hand it the pen. Every time you blame somebody else, every time you point the finger, you're giving them permission to hold you back. And I don't care what's been done to you. It's not bigger than what's inside of you. But you gotta claim that. Stop talking about what you don't have. Stop talking about how hard it is. It's supposed to be hard. That's the cost of greatness. But it starts with you standing up and saying, I'm done waiting. I'm done hoping someone comes to rescue me. I'm done expecting the world to understand what I'm going through. Nobody owes you anything, but you owe you everything. You owe you another chance. You owe you that dream you've been sitting on. You owe you the respect that only comes when you look yourself in the eye and know you didn't quit on yourself. Listen to me. No one is going to feel sorry for you forever. They might clap, they might sympathize, but after a while, the world moves on. And if you don't move with it, you'll get left behind. Not because you're not capable, not because you don't have potential, but because you refuse to take responsibility. Life is going to test you. It's going to break you down. And in those moments, you've got two choices. Get bitter or get better. You can stay in your pain or you can stand on it. Everything you want is on the other side of your excuses. You say you don't have time, make time. You say you don't have support, be your own support. You say you're tired, then rest for a moment, but don't you dare quit. Don't you dare lie to yourself and say you gave everything you had when you didn't. You owe it to yourself to tell the truth. You owe it to yourself to say, I could have worked harder. I could have stayed focused. I could have gone one more round. Some of you are more committed to your excuses than you are to your potential. You've been telling yourself the same story for years, and it's a story of limits, of lack of loss. But what if you wrote a new story? One where you stop waiting for a break and become the break. One where you stop chasing other people's validations and start walking in your own vision. That starts today. That starts now. That starts the moment you decide that nobody else is going to push you harder than you push yourself. You got to get to a point where you stop negotiating with your weakness. Stop having conversations with your comfort zone. Stop asking your fear. Stop asking your fears for advice. That's not who you are. You're not your lowest moment. You're not your worst mistake. You're not the labels they put on you. You are who you decide to become, but only if you take full responsibility for your life. Nobody can make that choice for you. So no more waiting, no more blaming, no more blaming, No more whining. You've been through enough. You've lost enough. You've doubted yourself long enough. Now it's time to rise. Now it's time to say, everything that happened to me made me stronger, not weaker. Everything I lost made room for something greater. And I'm not sitting on the sidelines of my life anymore. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about them. This is about them. This is about you. And you owe it to you to give everything you've got. No excuses, no apologies. You keep waiting. You're sitting on your gift, your dream, you're calling, and you're waiting for someone to notice you, waiting for someone to clap for you, waiting for someone to say, it's your time. But here's the truth. Nobody is coming. Nobody's going to knock on your door and hand you the life you dream about. That's not how this works. You got to stop waiting for permission and start moving with purpose. You keep hoping that if you're good enough, quiet enough, patient enough, someone will finally say, oh, go ahead. It's okay now. You can be great. But life doesn't give out permission slips. Life gives out opportunities. And if you don't take them, someone else will. You're sitting there wondering why nothing's happening for you, but the truth is, you're not making it happen. You're waiting for signs. You're waiting for approval. You're waiting for someone to validate what you already know inside, that you were born for more. But the world isn't going to believe in you until you believe in you. They're not going to follow you until you start walking. You don't need more applause, more followers, more likes. You need more belief. You need more belief. You need more action. You need to give yourself permission to show up fully because you got what it takes. You just haven't decided to act like it. You keep asking people for their opinion on your vision. You keep showing them your dream like they can see what you see. Let me tell you something. They don't see it because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't have the capacity to understand your calling. They're not supposed to get it. That's why it's your dream, not theirs. But you keep watering it down, shrinking it, dimming it so you don't make other people uncomfortable. Let me be real with you. Stop asking small-minded people for permission to live a big life. You're waiting for the timing to be perfect, for the finances to line up, for all the green lights to flash at once. But it doesn't work like that. You start where you are. You move with what you have. You build while you bleed. You don't need to have it all figured out to take the first step. What you need is courage. What you need is to trust that if you just stop moving, the rest will come. Stop waiting to be qualified. If you've got the heart, if you've got the hunger, you're already enough. You've let fear write too many chapters of your life. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of what they'll say if you fall. But let me ask you this. What if you fly? What if everything you ever wanted is on the other side of that fear? You keep waiting for confidence to show up before you take action. But confidence is built in the doing. You want to feel ready, but the truth is, nobody ever feels ready. Readiness is a myth. The moment is now. This is the permission you've been waiting for. You say you want success, but you keep asking other people for advice on how to live your life. You keep waiting for them to support you, to invest in you, to clap for you. But deep down, you know the truth. You've been giving other people more control over your destiny than you've given yourself. And it stops today. Because if you don't choose you, who will? If you don't believe in your gift, who's going to fight for it? If you don't say, I got this, how can you expect anyone else to see you as more than potential? You weren't created to be on the sidelines. You weren't born to blend in. You're not here to repeat the same patterns, to play it safe, to follow rules that don't even serve you. You were born to lead, to build, to rise, but not if you keep waiting for someone to say it's okay. You don't need a degree to start. You don't need a mentor to move. You don't need a handout, a spotlight, a perfect plan. You need a decision. That's it. One moment where you say, I'm not waiting anymore, you've wasted too much time letting people who don't believe in themselves tell you how to live your life. You've taken advice from people who are scared to chase their own dreams, and it's cost you time. It's cost you energy. It's cost you peace. But that ends now. Today, you reclaim your life. You reclaim your voice. You reclaim your gift. And you stop asking for permission to be who you already know you are. Every minute you wait is a minute you'll never get back. Every dream you delay is a dream that dies a little more inside you. So if you hear this and you feel that fire inside, that's not coincidence. That's your spirit telling you it's time. Time to move, time to speak, time to act. Because no more waiting, no more apologizing, no more shrinking. You don't need permission. You are permission. You are permission. Everybody wants to be successful when it feels good. Everybody wants to go hard when they're inspired. When the music's loud, the room's hype, when somebody's yelling a let's go, then you're ready to move. But what about when it's 4:30 in the morning and no one's clapping? What about when your body's tired, when the dream feels far, when the motivation is gone? That's the moment that separates the winners from the wishers. That's when we find out who you really are. You think greatness is about hype, about emotion. You think millionaires wake up every day ready to run through walls? No, they don't rely on how they feel. They rely on their habits. They rely on discipline. Discipline is doing what you said you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has left you. It's waking up and grinding even when your feelings are trying to talk you out of it. Because feelings lie, discipline doesn't. You said you wanted to be successful. You said you wanted to be the best. You said you wanted to change the game, change your family's legacy, become the one that others look up to. So why are you only working when you feel good? Why are you only locked in when things are easy? You can't be seasonal with your effort and expect permanent results. You can't show up part-time and expect full-time rewards. There's going to be days when you don't feel like it. That's a fact. Days when you're tired, when it hurts, when nobody's watching and nobody's checking for you. That's the test. That's where growth happens. Discipline says, I don't need motivation. I move because I made a commitment. Discipline says, even when I don't see results yet, I trust the process. Discipline is your anchor when the storm hits. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. You keep talking about goals, but your grind doesn't match your goals. You want first-place results with second-rate habits. That's not how this works. If you say you want it, prove it. Every single day. Not just when you're excited, not just when someone's watching, but especially when it's quiet, especially when it's boring. That's the space where champions are built. Discipline isn't pretty. It's early mornings, late nights, sweat out. Repetition, rejection. It's getting up after a failure and saying, ooh, we go again. It's running the same route, lifting the same weight, studying the same pages until it becomes second nature. You think Kobe Bryant became Kobe by working when he felt like it? No, he outworked everybody, every single day. Discipline is that Mamba mentality, that locked-in focus when the world is partying and you're perfecting your craft. Most people quit, not because they weren't talented enough, but because they waited for motivation and it never came. You've been taught to chase the feeling. I'm telling you to build the habit. You've been taught to wait for inspiration. I'm telling you to act regardless. You've got to show up for yourself, whether or not the fire is burning, whether or not the skies are clear. Whether or not the skies are clear. Because one day of skipped work becomes a week becomes a month, and then suddenly you're wondering why you're stuck in the same place. Let me be honest. If you only move when it's convenient, you'll never have anything worth keeping. If you only grind when it's fun, you'll never know the satisfaction of mastery. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards discipline. Not the one with the most energy, but the one with the most consistency. Not the one who talks the most, but the one who does the work even when no one's listening. You've got to fall in love with the process. Fall in love with doing it tired. Fall in love with doing it again. Fall in love with the boring stuff. Winners don't need hype, they've got standard. Standards they live by. Standards they train by. Standards they don't compromise on. They don't need someone to push them. They're self-propelled because they made a decision. I do this no matter what. And here's the truth. When you build discipline, the motivation shows up later. When you do the work, even when you don't feel like it, something shifts inside you. You build momentum. You build character. You stop being someone who needs permission to be great and become someone who creates greatness with or without applause. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your discipline. That's the truth nobody wants to hear. You want to be successful? Then start doing the things successful people do. Day in, day out, rain or shine. Success is not sexy. It's not loud. It's quiet. It's ugly. It's early. It's lonely, but it's worth it. Every time you choose discipline over motivation, you stack a win. Every time you show up regardless of your mood, you become unstoppable. And if you do that enough times, if you make it a lifestyle, not a moment, then one day you'll look back and realize you didn't just chase a dream. You became the dream. Stop lying to yourself. That's where it starts. You're not tired. You're just undisciplined. You're not out of time. You're wasting time. You're not stuck. You're scared. But you keep telling yourself these cute little lies to make yourself feel better about not showing up. And the problem is those lies are killing your potential. They're keeping you comfortable. They're keeping you average. They're keeping you exactly where you are. When you look in the mirror, you know if you gave it everything you had today. You know if you hit snooze one too many times. You know if you made excuses. You know if you settle. And I'm not saying you gotta be perfect. I'm saying you gotta be honest. You gotta hold yourself accountable. Because if you can't even tell yourself the truth, how are you ever gonna grow? You say you wanna win. You say you wanna be great. But do your actions match your ambition? Everybody talks like a lion when the lights are on. Everybody's a beast when it's game day. But what about when nobody's watching? What about when it's just you and the grind? You say you want success. Okay, show me. Not in your words, not in your vision board. Show me in your discipline. Show me in your sacrifice. Show me in your daily habits. You can't keep saying, I won, eat, and living like you don't. Look, I've been there. I've been broke. I've been broken. I've been overlooked, underappreciated, and counted out. And I had to get to a point where I looked myself in the eye and said, no more pretending. No more acting like I'm doing more than I am. I had to be real about my laziness, real about my procrastination, real about the ways I was sabotaging myself. Because here's the truth. Your breakthrough doesn't come from other people treating you different. Your breakthrough comes when you start treating yourself different. When you stop giving yourself a pass. When you stop babying your excuses. You've got to confront yourself. You've got to look at your habits, your environment, your mindset, and ask the hard questions. Am I operating at my highest level or am I coasting? Am I truly hungry or am I just pretending because it sounds good? Am I willing to do what's necessary or am I only doing what's convenient? Stop dressing up mediocrity and calling it effort. Stop doing 70% and calling it all you got. Deep down, you know the truth. And the truth will set you free, but only if you face it. This ain't about guilt. This ain't about shame. This is about growth. This is about unlocking the next version of you. Oh, you'll never meet that version if you keep letting yourself off the hook. You're trying to level up without cleaning your character. You're trying to elevate without evaluating. And that's why nothing's changing. That's why you feel stuck, because real growth requires real honesty. Real transformation starts with real self-awareness. And here's the thing. You don't need to broadcast it. You don't need to post about it. This is between you and you and you. You don't need to make an announcement. Just look in the mirror and be 100 with yourself. Ask, did I do what I said I was going to do today? And if the answer is no, don't make excuses. Make adjustments. Don't get emotional. Get focused. Don't beat yourself up. Level yourself up. It's not about being hard on yourself. It's about holding yourself to a higher standard. The standard that says, I don't quit when it's hard. I don't slack because nobody's watching. I don't lower my expectations because the world does. The standard that said, if I said I'm going to do it, then I'm going to do it, no matter how I feel. Because that's what separates those who dream from those who execute. And at the end of the day, execution is everything. There are two versions of you, the one you are right now and the one you were born to become. And the distance between them is built with discipline, honesty, and consistency. You don't close that gap by lying to yourself. You close it by waking up every day and saying, today, I'm not going to hide from my flaws. I'm going to face them. I'm going to fix them. I'm going to grow past them. And you do that over and over until your reality starts to match your potential. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need another speaker yelling in your ear. You need to be your own coach. You need to be your own critic. You need to be your own accountability partner. And that starts by being real every single day. You gotta keep it real when it's ugly. Keep it real when it hurts. Keep it real when the truth stings. Because the people who win They don't just dream, they demand more from themselves. They show up with integrity. They do the work and let the results speak. So stop running from the mirror. Stop sugarcoating your efforts. Stop hoping your way into success. Look yourself in the eye and say, this is on me. Then act like it. You owe it to yourself, not to your parents, not to your coach, not to your friends, not to your boss. You owe it to you, because nobody else is going to live your life. Nobody else is going to the regret if you waste it. Nobody else is going to carry that weight in the middle of the night when you know you could have gone harder and did. When you know you had something great inside of you and you buried it under fear, laziness, and excuses. You were born with something in you that this world hasn't seen yet. A voice, a gift, a spark, but it's not going to just happen by chance. You keep thinking someone's going to come knock on your door and discover you, but that's not how this works. This ain't a movie. There's no magical moment where somebody hands you a contract, a spotlight, or a dream. You've got to build it brick by brick, day by day, failure by failure, sacrifice by sacrifice. And here's the truth. Nobody's going to care as much as you. Nobody's going to wake up at 5 a.m. for you. Nobody's going to study harder, train longer, grind deeper for you. That's on you. It always has been. You can't delegate your destiny. You can't outsource your greatness. You can't expect people to believe in you more than you believe in yourself. You've got to be the one who says, I refuse to waste what God gave me. You owe it to yourself to stop living below your potential. You owe it to yourself to stop playing small just because it's comfortable, just because it's safe, just because you don't want to make other people uncomfortable. You're shrinking when you should be expanding. You're hesitating when you should be charging forward. And every time you second guess yourself, you're robbing yourself of growth. You're robbing yourself of the life you could have had if you just moved boldly. You don't need a cheerleader. You need a decision to show up every day, regardless of how you feel. A decision to stop negotiating with your excuses. A decision to stop listening to that voice that tells you to wait, to slow down, to stay quiet. Because that voice, that's the enemy. That's the fear talking. That's the version of you that would rather survive than shine. But survival isn't what you were made for. You were made to thrive. You owe it to yourself to find out what's on the other side of discipline. You owe it to yourself to know what your life would look like if you gave 120% for a year straight. Not when it feels good. Not just when you're inspired. But even when you're tired. Even when you're broken. Even when nobody is watching. Especially when nobody is watching. Because that's where it counts the most. That's where the shift happens. Everybody wants success until they see the price tag. Everybody wants greatness until they realize it costs sleep, peace, parties, vacations, and comfort. But when it's yours, when it's truly your purpose, you'll pay whatever it takes. Not because you're chasing fame, but because you know deep down, I can't leave this earth without using everything I was given. That's what drives you. That's what keeps you moving when motivation runs out. That fire, that responsibility, you owe it to yourself to stop pretending. Stop acting like you're not built for more. You know you are. You feel it. You felt it your whole life. You walk into rooms and you don't feel like you belong. Not because you're not enough, but because you're thinking too small. You're waiting for permission when the truth is, you've already been approved. If you're breathing, if you've got breath in your lungs and vision in your heart, then that's all the confirmation you need. The people around you may never understand the fire that burns inside you. They don't have to. They weren't given your vision. That dream wasn't meant for them. It was meant for you. So stop waiting for applause. Stop waiting for backup. It's time to stand up and say, this one's on me. I owe me this. Not because of ego, but because of truth, because of honor. Because you know deep down, you got something to prove to yourself. And if you don't give it all you got, then what? You live the rest of your life wondering, oh, what if? You wake up 10 years from now with the same potential, the same excuses, the same story, but no legacy. You'll look back and realize you never really lived. You existed, you survived, but you never unleashed what was inside of you. And that's the greatest tragedy of all. Not failing, but never trying. Never risking, never becoming. So no more waiting, no more wasting. No more hoping it happens by chance. The power's in your hands. You're not here to be average. You're not here to play safe. You're here to leave something behind. And it starts with you looking in the mirror and saying, I owe this to me. I owe this grind. I owe this sacrifice. I owe this legacy. And I won't stop until I give the best version of me to the world.